In this video I am going to take you back in time to relive the January 1994 winter storm over the Ohio Valley and the all-time record cold that followed after. I will show you approximately what the radar looked like at certain time frames, show you a total snowfall map, look at some snowfall reports, and show some weather reports from local news stations in Louisville. We start out at 9 a.m. on the morning of January 16, 1994. At this time light to moderate snow was falling over northern Illinois and Wisconsin. Another batch of precipitation was over Missouri with ice falling in Springfield and light snow to the north in Columbia, Missouri. By noon the two areas of precipitation started to merge. In central Missouri moderate snow was falling with a light wintry mix to the south of that, while Wisconsin was still seeing a steady snowfall coming down. By mid-afternoon moderate snow was falling in Peoria and Champaign, Illinois, with light snow moving into Indiana. A light wintry mix was still falling over southern Missouri and northern Arkansas. And the leading edge of the precipitation was moving into western Kentucky. By sunset moderate snow stretched from Springfield, Missouri to Fort Wayne, Indiana. A light wintry mix from Fayetteville, Arkansas over to near Bowling Green, Kentucky. Also light rain was falling in Memphis. Moving on to 9 p.m. on the 16th, moderate snow had just begun in Louisville. Back in Quincy, Illinois the snow was coming to an end after receiving snow for much of the day. Ice was now falling in Bowling Green, with light rain about to move into Nashville. As the calendar flipped over to the 17th, moderate to heavy snow was falling from southern Illinois through southern Indiana and northern Kentucky, with a sleet and freezing rain mix in southern Kentucky. By 3 a.m. the snow had come to an end in St. Louis and Champaign. Bowling Green had just switched over to snow and Louisville and Lexington were getting crushed. Farther south Nashville was receiving a steady cold rain with temps in the low to mid-30s. By morning snow was moving out in Indianapolis and nearing a changeover in Nashville, while Lexington and Louisville were still in the thick of the storm. Here is some footage from a local news station in Louisville from that morning.
Most everything out there is closed.
St. Mary and Elizabeth Hospital needs help. And the mayor and the county judge have both declared a state of emergency. The interstates are terrible.
That is our heaviest single snowfall ever.
And there is a sense of panic out there.
Welcome to a special edition of Good Morning Kentuckiana. You are looking at live pictures from the Belvedere. Kentuckiana is in the midst of a major snowstorm.
There are some cars trying to come up the 2nd Street Bridge. Folks, don't do that. Foolish, 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 foolish.
The snow extends over the entire region. Travel not advised.
Traffic is not moving, and it has not been moving here as long as we've been here.
My recommendation because of that is to stay away from the street, stay in your homes.
But you know, you scrape underneath here, it's still slippery. It's still very slippery.
You know, we may have had 6 inches of snow back in February, but this is probably the worst I've seen it in this town since 1978.
And that's the advice of the day. If you don't have a four-wheel drive vehicle, just stay at home.
And our plans today, folks, to stay on the air right through the thick of this snowstorm.
As of 9 a.m. it was snowing in Nashville, with the snow stretching all the way over to the East Coast. Southern Ohio, West Virginia, and southern PA were getting the worst of the storm by this point. As we move on to midday on the 17th, the heating of the day and the warm south wind from the approaching low pressure was turning the snow to rain in Virginia. Meanwhile, Charleston, West Virginia was still seeing moderate to heavy snow which stretched up through Pennsylvania. The snow had stopped in Louisville, but they were still feeling the effects of the storm.
Go down to the banks of the river and you'll see, or sort of see through the steam, the chilliest problem. So what's the difference between the bank and the river these days? Not much. The Ohio River is in danger of freezing. You think you've seen trouble now? You haven't seen anything yet. If the river freezes, expect to see more of it on your street because freezing water from the Ohio breaks the mains, adding to the 15 already broken.
And you know, just because the snow has stopped today, it doesn't mean the roads are any better. In fact, police and disaster workers are telling us again to stay off the roads today.
Now let's get a ground view of all of this. Mark Hebert's been out live all morning long. I'm sure he's pretty cold by now.
Well, actually, we've been sitting in the live truck, so it's not too bad, Rachel. As you can see behind us, this is Interstate 71 heading in towards the city. Trucks like this one right here have been weaving their way through the stalled cars, the abandoned cars that have been sitting here since last night when the Red Cross came and took these people out of their cars, took them to shelters. We understand there were several children in the cars. In one case, there was a 17-month-old baby in a car where they were low on fuel. Red Cross came and took them to a shelter. But there are a number of abandoned cars. We understand the governor's now saying that he wants these cars off the roadway and wants them towed by 1 o'clock. So hopefully these people can come get them because they're pretty free to get out right now. To show you what we're dealing with out here, there is absolutely no moisture left. You can see how this just crumbles. There's no moisture in this snow. It's very dry. I'm going to go out on the roadway right now. It is packed down solid out here on Interstate 71. It is slippery, and in many cases, there are deep, deep ruts, not right in the area where we are standing, but back up this way where the trucks cannot plow a solid line through and get down to the pavement or anywhere close to the pavement. There are just these huge ruts, and it's like if you're a skier, you know what a mogul is. It's like driving in a moguled area of a ski slope. So the conditions are still bad out here. If you don't have a four-wheel drive truck, forget it. Stay home. It's cold.
Hey, Mark Hebert,
Thanks,
live
Mark.
out there on the slick roadways. Thank you very much. We ought to tell you we've already had a lot of closings for tomorrow. We're going to get to those in just a couple of minutes right here.
20,000 homes without power at this hour, and we suspect that the situation as it affects power to homes may get worse before it gets better.
We're in Jeffersonville right now, Gene. In fact, we're right off of 62. We had outages in Louisville, the same over on the other side of the river.
It makes you think about
Dan Penner of Seneca Gardens walked through his house in the dark all day. His one refuge, a battery-powered radio.
Up next, meteorologist Ken Schultz with the color radar forecast.
Tonight, he's hoping he'll have lights. Penner spent the day reading the newspaper by window light. At the same time, the temperature inside dropped.
But once you're inside for a while, you can feel that it gets a little nippy out, you know.
How much temperature-wise do you think it has dropped in your house since the heat went off?
Probably over 20 degrees. So it doesn't sound that bad, but I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, so they're starting to feel a little bit.
This is what took his power away. Power lines sliced and dropped to the ground, not by the snow, but by trees. Ice-covered branches are snapping everywhere.
Being without power can be a scary experience on a night like tonight.
It's a cold night without power. If you don't have electricity, this is where you could spend the night.
By afternoon, snow was still falling in West Virginia and Pennsylvania but would start to wind down as the sun set on the night of the 17th. Now here is a look at snowfall totals, with 1 to 3 inches in that light blue color, including Quincy and Peoria, Illinois. The dark blue is for areas that received 3 to 5 inches. The first shade of purple is 5 to 8 inches, which included Indianapolis. The next shade is for 8 to 12 inches. The darkest shade of purple from western Kentucky up through Pennsylvania is for areas that ended up with anywhere from 12 to 18 inches. And lastly, the pink color is for areas that received over 18 inches from the storm. Here are some snowfall reports, the highest being in Shelby County in Kentucky with 2 feet of snowfall. Louisville picked up 15.9 inches, which at the time broke the record of 15.7 inches. It has since been broken by a long-lasting winter storm from February 3 to 6, 1998, where 22.4 inches fell. Also, Paducah received 15 inches from the storm. With that deep snowpack on the ground, temperatures will challenge and eventually break all-time record lows.
The weather, John Belsky joins us now, and how bad is it going to be today?
Well, you know, kind of a strange day today. The temperature dropped to a record 10 below this morning and held below 0 all day today. Now, we're at 7 below right now. And we're expecting lows here in the city to be 10 to 15 below and probably closer to the 15 below mark. And if you live out in suburban areas, especially where you have that extremely deep snow cover out in the countryside, you could go 20, 22, 23 below, somewhere in that range there. By the way, the record low for tomorrow morning, 14 below, and there is a good chance we could break that.
All right. Thank you, John. We want to begin our special coverage tonight with John Belsky. The temperatures are reaching all-time lows, aren't they?
That's right. Getting real close to it, and all I can say is hopefully this will be the coldest night of the winter. I can't see it getting any colder than this down the road at all. Let's take a look at our temperature here at the Wave 3 Weather Center. We're in downtown Louisville, which is usually the warmest spot around the metro area. And look at that, we are down to 11.5 degrees below 0 right now. Now, here's what we're looking at for overnight temperatures in the city. They'll be running about 14 to possibly as low as 20 below 0. Out in the suburbs, out in the countryside, temperatures may dip as low as 25 below 0 by morning. Now, looking at the record book here, for tomorrow morning, our record low is at 14 below. I think that Stanford Field will drop to about 15 below. So the all-time record low of 20 will probably hold, but still very, very close to it.
When you're out in temperatures like that, how fast can you get frostbite in your skin?
Well, usually the rule of thumb is anything under 10 degrees below 0, it can happen in a matter of minutes, and then, you know, much faster, you know, just seconds once you get down to 30, 40 below. Of course, that includes the wind chill also,
Sure.
and tonight the wind chill has been running about 20 to 40 below 0 at times, although we do expect the winds to be dying down for the rest of the night.
No question, it's
So don't go out unless you absolutely have to.
That's the word, yeah.
All right, thanks, John.
Figuring this out, and what you got for us, Tom?
Well, we did it. Feel proud of yourselves. We got that record. I mean, if you're going to get this cold, you might as well go all the way and get the record, right?
Will that put us in the Hall of Fame?
Well, in the Louisville Hall of Fame for sure, okay? Minus 20 degrees currently out of Stanford Field. Our downtown reading has just dropped off to minus 16 degrees. Yesterday's daytime high was minus 3, and of course this minus 21 represents the new record low all time, not just for the day, but the coldest ever in Louisville history. We had the old record of minus 20, was actually 2 days had that, back in 1884 and back in 1963. Both of those had that minus 20 degree, but that one's off the books now. This one's the new all-time record, minus 21 degrees. Around the nation this morning, we've seen most of the cloud patterns move out of the Ohio Valley, of course, because of that huge mound of record-breaking cold. And by the way, we're not the only spot seeing all-time record lows this morning. Indianapolis, Grand Rapids, Flint, Michigan, to name a few, and many more will probably happen before it's all over. But in the past 24 hours, seeing some clouds streaking in across the plain states heading toward the Ohio Valley. That's going to give us increasing clouds today, and because of that, we're not going to be able to get too much warmer. Well, it'll get warmer than minus 20, but the warming will not be too rapid because of the blocking of the sunshine. There, once again, we're seeing on our local satellite view, the cold air and the snow are picking up as a cloud. Actually, it is not. It's just plain bitter, bitter cold air across the Ohio Valley, and you can see it as the cold air sank south overnight. You can see the apparent cloud doing the same thing. Now let's take a look at what's happening around the region today. We have a huge amount of high pressure coming across the state today, and that has made the clear, calm conditions overnight and setting the stage with that big blanket of fresh snow for all-time record cold readings across Kentucky. So we're going to start out this morning with plenty of sunshine around the area, but as the day progresses, we're going to see that upper level disturbance pushing clouds in across the region. Can we go back to the graphics, please? Okay. Clouds are going to be rolling back in across the area, blocking out the sunshine this afternoon, and in that there's some snow. We have a very light little band of light snow coming across Illinois into Indiana this afternoon. It appears the major threat of snow will be to our north across the central parts of Indiana. We may see a little patchy snow, a few flurries or dusting in the Louisville area, but most of the snow will be across Indiana. Here we are this morning. Current temperatures as of 5 o'clock, minus 20 in Louisville, 19 below in Lexington, Fort Knox, E-Town area, minus 23 degrees, Indy at minus 25. Hey, what happened to St. Louis? 0 degrees. Maybe there is some hope, huh? Okay. In Louisville today, the forecast goes this way. Skies to be mostly sunny. Noontime reading about minus 5 degrees. Clouds, though, roll in this afternoon. Very cold. Today's high reading about 5. A few patches of light snow. Tonight, we'll see maybe up to 1 inch from Scottsburg north to Indianapolis. But most of the area, we'll just see a dusting of accumulations, a few flurries around Louisville. Overnight low around 4 degrees with slowly rising readings toward morning. Mostly cloudy skies tomorrow, a few flurries, but getting up to where the salt will work again, up to around 20 degrees. It's going to be slow climbing out, but we'll get up to the upper 20s on Friday, stay in the 30s for highs over the weekend, but at least good sunshine should cause at least some slow melting process, but we're getting very cold at nights again, so not too rapid of any cleanup. It's going to take a long, long time. I've got to emphasize it. We're talking weeks before our streets get back to normal.
I never thought I'd look forward to 38 degrees.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot, Tom.
Okay, that is all for today's video. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. And leave a comment if you have any other storms you would like me to make a video on.